If you're watching or go live today, I have an incredible friend, Brian Holloway. We've known each other for a really, really long time.
45 years.
I'm gonna key up this image right here. This is me and Brian back in the day.
Yep, when we were out training and working out, and this goes all the way back.
Oh gosh, no
yeah,
kidding.
1980s.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Man, that's something else right there, man.
Getting ready for the NFL and just unleashing the power and the understanding and the gifts that God put in us. And just amazing how God would use some of our experience, our lives in athletics and then pro athletics to reach and touch and help and lift up family and men. Yeah.
That's it. That's that's really tell the story about how we met on the high school field.
Well, I was out there training because I had to report to Stanford, and you were training out there, and I was running, and I was finishing up my sprints, and then you asked, "Hey, can I do some sprinting with you?" And I was like, "I really I need to sprint fast." And I kind of take off a little bit. He said, "Yeah, I'll sprint with you." And then on the first sprint, I was like, I can't compromise my workout. I really got to go. I don't want to embarrass this guy. And then when you blazed past me, I said, "What? What? Another big man that could run?" So, and that was one of my prides. I mean, I prided myself in being able to get down the field. And then I said, okay, this game's completely changed. And at that point, I realized I need to understand more about his workouts. I need to learn from each other. And that was really, really an important time.
Yeah, that was, I remember you looking at me and you went, you're the first white boy to ever beat me.
That's locker room talk. Said it.
Yeah. And then we ran again. And I looked at you and I said, "Man, you're the first black man to ever beat me."
Yeah.
And I think that was the beginning of something just incredibly powerful.
It took us 1 second to go, we need to work out together.
That's right.
And that's something about one of the gifts that were given us, and a gift that's available to all men.
That's right.
And women, and right. In fact, young folks too. The ability to make a decision. We need to do this to get better. Yep. So that's really cool. That's really cool. And you just know you couldn't have gotten that speed unless you worked out. You didn't just show up. So it showed the years and your stripes and your commitment and focus. And that was very important. Impressive.
Yeah, that was an incredible time for us being friends. I mean, probably one of the toughest things for men today is men, fathers, husbands, grandpas, is that there's so many guys that are totally alone. And they don't have, the statistics out there. They're just, more than half the guys in the world are being raised without their dad in their story, their birth father. Many of them are just out there trying to, do life on their own. They're looking to social media to maybe find an identity or purpose. And unfortunately, you can find all kinds of false identities out there that really don't satisfy you or really connect you with who God's really made you to be.
Yeah. Because there are models out there, and there's strong men of character out there, and you will recognize one when you see one. because something inside you will move and something inside you will inspire you. And then you realize, here's an opportunity for me to learn more, share more, grow more, think more, see more, and to rise to the next level. And God offers us that promise every single day. There's not one day that goes by that God does not offer us that promise. Not one day in the Bible.
That's right, brother.
Yeah.
That's
They rolled away the stone, bro. They rolled away the stone. It was
they
one
did.
was there.
No,
and no one was there.
We
said,
we
you
got.
will do all these things and more.
Oh man, that's it.
Glory.
One of the incredible pictures for me of Resurrection Sunday. That's what Easter's all about, him dying in our place. And then when that rock rolls away, and I remember years ago preparing for Sunday at my church, and the Lord showed me that door was the door to our Father's house that we were born into. And
Absolutely.
when Jesus, he got buried into the lineage of our life and into our Father's house, into the limitation of sin. And when that rock rolled away and he walked out of that house, that when we're in him, we will no longer be limited by the backstory of the brokenness in our life. We can take the best that we have and go, but we will no longer be limited by that. And it's
or be enslaved by it.
Yeah,
it's sort of like being shackled, and then one day you learn when just the wonderful hand of God shows up that you're no longer shackled.
Yeah, that's right, bro.
And it's just sort of like a spectacular. It says, "You mean I can be forgiven? You mean I don't need to look at the past and say that's my future?
Yeah.
You mean, you can have there are many people out there that had great fathers in reverse, because they were great fathers because they showed them exactly what they will never do. Exactly what I'll be sure to be there for my wife and my children. Exactly the skills of asking forgiveness, or I will try hard, or the gift of the win back, or the strength to go to the altar and say, God, please forgive me, strengthen me, and let me pour all of you out on my family. And let me further embrace what I must do for the kingdom. So instead of just asking for the healing, I just want to be healed. No, that's not all. You ask for the healing so as to being a force and transformation in the lives of other people. And you don't just heal for you. You heal for the commission. And you pour it to your family, you pour it to your kids, you pour it to your neighbors, you pour it at work, you pour it on the road when that person goes and snags your parking spot and they sit out there, and you don't let that stuff burst up in you anymore. You don't need to. They just took a parking spot. Don't get crazy. And the gifts can pour out on you. And you realize you have every moment, every place you are. You can go to the grocery store and bless people just by a smile, just by a help, just by walking with the spirit of joy that fills off you. Everyone in that place can feel it. It's with you always. So, yeah, really important. And a lot of ball players didn't know that, just like all the people that didn't have fathers in their lives. And for those that feel like they're just like, we don't know what to do, you get close, you buddy up, you partner up, you pal up, you bro up with a model. And that's tremendously helpful.
Well, that's one of the most powerful things God gives us, man.
Yeah.
I remember my boys are looking at me and watching me and constantly and looking to see what I thought. You saw that with your kids.
Of course, yeah, yeah. And then we taught them some new tricks: how you put your chairs in front of a refrigerator, leave the door open, and you eat that refrigerator down that you're training.
And we did that.
Oh, my parents were like, "What happened? You ate the whole refrigerator."
Yeah, I got in trouble with your dad.
Oh, those are good times.
That's it. That's one of the things that I want to talk about also is some of the outstanding players that you knew were more about football. Uh, and they were men that Christ got a hold of and stood up and proclaimed it. Coaches, etc. We've watched happen recently and seen um, the reaction of social media. But when these young players are standing up and thanking Jesus.
Yeah, I think when I played, one of my longtime mentors and was sort of like the lead horse that I would chase was Anthony Munoz, and he was at USC, and I was being recruited by USC, and then and I went up to Stanford, and he was a starter his first year and became just all American, and I chased him all the way in the pros too. And in the National Football League. I mean, he was a rookie and made all pro. He was so good. And because you have a pace horse in front of you, just tremendous talent. But his heart with the Lord's, it was amazing. Mike Singletary, absolute heart for the Lord. Reggie White, dear, dear friend, heart for the Lord. And these ball players, Mike Haynes played with us at the Patriots, all pro and Hall of Famer, and then went to the Raiders, heart for the Lord. And what was powerful that is when you're in their presence, the hand of God is there. And those conversations are amazing. And anytime you get in a moment, like a stuck moment, um, you could sit there and they have all the time in the world. Let's talk, because they know it's something, a treasure that's being that is showing up in that moment. So really, really, really wonderful. It's because how could I didn't know. And one thing, when we go to the Pro Bowl, one of the things that the covenant the ball players made is that I promise, if you come up and talk to me, you promise to share two secrets with another player. And that way you had a chance, because we all studied each other. And we would share and talk, and there was something remarkable, because when you're able to share those gifts that were given to you, and you share with other people, something out there's a power, there's an energy, there's a force that's not of this earth, and that shows up, and that's the power and the force of the servant leader. You know what God called us to do. So it's wonderful. And then what's amazing about it is those friendships are forever. They don't end when you leave the league. So you could sit there and show up anywhere at any time and go, "Hey, do you have a minute? Can we talk?" And they'll recognize right away. They'll recognize the heart, the sound, and voice of their brother and family.
Yeah.
And that's something that is available for everyone, and every young man out there who is looking for and asks those big important questions. So those questions are very important.
So
So many times.
tell everybody where you first encountered this.
Say that one more time.
Uh, Share with us about where you first encountered this.
Um, you know, we were coming out of the 70s, in the late 60s, and there was a lot of stuff happening in this world, and the world was going through, particularly in the US, a lot of change. And because of the color of someone's skin, there were some really, really difficult times. But as I was pushing on, never giving up. It just like keeping the eyes forward, and knowing that there will be a better day, and being around a group of people that I recognized they were different. And when I came to Churchill High School, I met some of the leaders of the Bible study, and I noticed that there was a difference about them. I know that there was an opening. They could be great on the field and committed and strong and working out, and but they're also committed in the classroom, and they were also diligent and on time and responsible. And I knew there was something else driving them. I wanted some of that, and so and I didn't know exactly what it was at the time, but I was feeling and embracing the Spirit of God that He offers men and women and children and boys and girls. They offer that is infinite and eternal. And I didn't know how to wrap my head around what that was, but I just knew it was good. And that Bible group is a Bible study group from high school is still intact today. And
That was Young Life Group, wasn't it?
well, it was Young Life and at Fourth Presbyterian Church. But we had our own get together, and Bill Benson, that was one of he was in college, but he was one of the brothers college committed, and he would come to even the practices after school. And sometimes his whole ministry is just to be there. You look up and he was at practice. And all he had was the time just walking off the field. And that was all he had. Bill Benson and I talked today, and he lives down here in Florida. And we talk a couple times a week. Okay, you're telling me that strength can last 40 years, 50 years? It just gets bigger. And what a gift.
You know why? Our leader rose from the dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so so and the writer of our book, the Bible, is still alive.
Yeah. Yeah. And every day there's an outpouring. Every day. It is not one of those things you go, well, there's one day, well, maybe it'll get right. No. You make the declaration of asking forgiveness and let God take the wheel. And it's immediate. It's right then. It's now. It's not like, well, one day it will happen. Maybe I'll in second. No, it'll happen immediately.
You know why it happens immediately? I know you thought this through, but
the blood of the Lamb. Gee, it's the blood of the Lamb.
Well, see, when Jesus died on the cross, He covered every sin. So in a real way, we were pre-forgiven.
Of course.
But to receive it, we've got to ask for it. It's already there. It's in a bank that He's already deposited. So He doesn't go, oh, shoot, I forgot that one.
And once you receive it, it's not just, oh, I feel better. No, you get to see why you were created in a new way. And you're not just here, well, I just want to be good and good church. You're here to make a difference, to do something, to create an energy and ideas and miracles in the community everywhere you go. And it doesn't need to be a massive miracle. You could sit there and just smiling at one person that may have not been smiled at all day long. It can change a life. Can change a life. And some people just opening the door may open the door for you. Someone may have never been spoken to that way, and just that one moment, that voice can alter a destiny forever. That's how powerful this is. And it's not us. It's what He commissioned us to do.
That's right.
Commission this, and then you see why we were created. And then and it's never small. It's always beyond your wildest imagination. And it's beyond generations, which is like astonishing. And then when you get to down the road just a bit, you then get entrusted with the reveal. So where God reveals why He created you. And it's just like incredible. You're just like, there's no possible way. But I'm glad you didn't tell me this when I was 20, because if you did, I'd be running the other way. I'm not
Yeah,
the one you need to go
no,
and
he
be
doesn't
there.
let us see all the stuff. His grace is only for today.
Yeah.
He gives us grace for the day. He doesn't give us grace for tomorrow. You know, in Matthew there, Jesus
Well,
said,
it's
why do you
there.
worry about your life?
It will always show up.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to show up. And you know what? I got these bird feeders out of my yard here in California. And it's just interesting. God, you know, we like birds, so we put up bird seed, and these birds are getting fed by us. And that's part of that promise there when Jesus said, why do you worry about your life, what you're going to eat or drink or put on? You know, even the birds of the air, they don't go around going, man, I need to take a Xanax. I'm just like really worried if I'm going to have any food for tomorrow. And I mean, God's promise is always to do that. So let's make a little shift here.
We have pterodactyls in Florida.
What's that?
We have pterodactyls in Florida.
Oh man, you got all kinds of stuff down there in Florida.
The gators are everywhere.
Yeah, for everybody who's watching too, man, we love your comments. Keep them coming. So I want to make a shift there. We kind of titled this "The Greatest Game of All."
Oh, for sure.
And we're like 2 days before what maybe the world thinks is the greatest game of all, and we're sporting our jerseys. We got a beat down this year in football, and the world championship guy who 5 rings, playing with the Patriots. I never got to this level. We got beat by San Francisco, and I've always appreciated anybody beating San Francisco, but they are in the big show this weekend.
Sure.
My heart, by the way, has had a shift. That lifelong thing of, San Francisco, you just need a beat down because you beat us and kept us out of the big show. And my heart got changed when I watched their quarterback get online and interviewed, looks right at the camera, unashamedly gives all the glory to God and Jesus. And I just love watching the conniptions of social media trying to cut off his comments.
Well, you can't cut it. You can try to, but it always goes forward.
Yeah.
The word always goes forward.
Yeah. And watching that just, and so, and I've always said this, people ask me all the time, so, well, who do you want to win the Super Bowl? And I go, the guys that are really going to win, really the greatest game of all is, and from God's viewpoint, it's he's watching the game. He already knows who's going to win. But how, he uses those men who have the courage to stand up and share the reason why they are a man and who they really are.
Well, and why they're called to the commission and why they were blessed with these gifts.
Yeah.
These gifts are a commission. They're not something like, look what I had or look what I worked for. The discipline and power and energy and ideas and strength to keep training, that doesn't come from us. We don't generate that. That's something holy. And so, you know what? The best part of this game is afterwards when, and many people don't know this because the broadcast stops, but the brothers and sisters from each team will come out and they'll go take a knee and pray at the end of the game. And some of the trainers who are female are invited on that field. Some of the admin are invited on that field, and they take a knee and pray. It's a prayer of thanksgiving, and it's a prayer of courage and strength. And after we lost in Super Bowl 20, Walter Payton and I was walking out of the tunnel, and he was upset. He was crying. I go, sweet. Now we knew each other from the Pro Bowl. I says, this can't be because you didn't get a chance to score a touchdown. He goes, Daddy, give me the ball. Daddy, give me. I said, you are the greatest player that's ever lived. You've changed your voice and your words and your has impacted decades. You just won the Super Bowl. Put that smile on your face, bro. And you go out there and greet your fans. He goes,
Yeah,
big dog, thank you. How do you be so positive? Why are you smiling? I said, bro, except for these last 3 hours, we both had the most incredible year of our life.
yeah.
And he goes, I didn't even think of it that way. I said, let's go out and greet the fans. Congratulations. You deserve it. You're world champs.
Yeah, it's so good, man. Well, I mean, because that really is, those moments. I remember some of the sweetest moments I had in the National Football League were not the end of the day, the score of the game, what you do, all those things. But it was those interactions just with players. And I remember when I came to the Giants, and just incredible story how I ended up even getting there. And then going to our first chapel service. It was George Martin, Bill Courier, and I. A guy came in, pastor came in that looked at us, and most of the other guys were sleeping before the game. And so we got together and said, you know what, we need to start praying. And so we went out to the 50-yard line at the end of that game. We decided we're going to do that. And we went out and took a knee. And we started praying. We got like in a little mini huddle to thank Jesus and to, draw in. And I mean, within minutes, a couple of players of the other team came over and kneeled with us.
Yeah.
And something, we didn't realize it then, but something got born on that field at that 50-yard line. And today, if you've been watching it at all, any football game, college football game, etc., you'll see every once in a while the producers will make a mistake and there's a bunch of people in a huddle out there, and they don't stop to go, man, look at that. All those guys have come together to pray because of whatever their crazy politics is all about. But that moment with George Martin and Bill Courier and I and other players joined us did something. And as a matter of fact, by the end of the season, Brian, we had 42 guys out of 45 in chapel before the game.
That's beautiful. I did chapel. For the Giants years after.
Yeah.
I did. See,
did,
I had grace to walk in there after dealing with years of Mr. Lawrence Taylor. Glory. That was a wonderful weekend.
He even came before we played the San Francisco 49ers and lost up there at that sorry field up there.
Hey, whoa.
Sorry, man. They had a water table that was like this far from the surface, and man, our cleats were tearing out. And of course, San Francisco knew exactly where to run.
And I wore the 49er jersey for 2 weeks, bro. Don't be talking bad about them. I wore it for 2 weeks. I was taking Bubba Smith's place. Stanford was the coach. He was my coach from Stanford. And then after 2 weeks, they found out I had a guarantee in my contract. And can you believe they put me on a bus out of there? They didn't have guarantees back then.
Yeah, the Barlow family, they're from Youngstown State. And I'll tell you how smart I was in college. I was pretty full of myself, All-American, and even though I had Christ in my life. And he came to me and said, look, we'd like to have you consider being a center for the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh,
and
no.
I looked at him.
Oh, no.
I looked at him and I said, man, thank you very much, but weren't you like 2-14?
Oh, my.
And this is like the day before the draft, right?
I know you did.
And then he looked at me and goes, well, we're going to do our best to get this quarterback named Joe from Notre Dame, Joe Montana. We think this guy could be, he could be one of the greats of all time. And I went, well, I never heard of him. So I said, look, Dallas said they're going to draft me, and which they didn't, by the way. So I've never liked Dallas. So, and so anyway, Randy Cross got picked up and was the center for Joe Montana. But how the story worked out, I ended up not playing for them. And God ended up getting me to Southern California, where I got to meet my bride. And there's no comparison.
That was beautiful. Yeah,
so,
it was beautiful.
God uses our good, our bad, our craziness in our life to he works it for his purposes, because he loves us. He's known us before the beginning of time. And he's been waiting for the moment of your birth, my birth, and everybody who's watching, so that he can father us and introduce us to his amazing son.
Yeah.
And have the life that God's really called about. So when we talk about the greatest game of all, you and I have talked about this, that the greatest game of all right now is fatherhood. And us really being the fathers that God's called us to be.
Absolutely.
So share with us about some of the things you've learned about being a father.
Well, with 8 kids, I learned that the boys eat 6 meals a day. And the first breakfast, don't get shocked when they're all sitting around the breakfast table, each with their own box of cereal and 2 gallons of milk. And their first breakfast, they eat a whole box in one sitting, each person. You just can't get shaken by that. You can't get shaken by 20 years of diaper pail. I mean, you just have an adjustment you need to make.
Isn't it more like in your house, it was more like one of those 40-gallon trash cans?
Everything was sensational. It was so amazing, and that no one could conceive. I mean, when we had to do groceries, I called ahead of time to BJ's or Costco, and I would sit there and go, look, I need groceries. You get 5 women, fill 5 carts. It does not matter what you put in there. I will be there with the kids. I walk to the register, hand them $1,000, and then I get 17 cents back. There's enough room in the car for the 4 kids that had to come, load the car, drive home, and there are 4 kids there to unpack the car and start putting stuff away in the 3 refrigerators. And we had to have 3 because the first one, they ate down and chum that night. So that was, that's how we got the groceries in the house, because they were eating as they were unloading.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I remember, going out into the kitchen early in the morning, and my son Lucas, which, he's just such an amazing young man. All of my kids, but he came out and he was just a little guy. He's like 3 years old, and he climbed up in the cupboard. He opened the doors. He's hanging with one hand on the door, over top of the door, reaching in, and he's got a box of cereal open with the other hand, and he's just chowing it. And I'm hearing this crunching sound.
I remember.
And I come in, and he looks at me and goes, "Hungry."
Yeah. I remember.
Oh,
I remember.
We got a question that popped in on the chat. Was a little bit off what we're talking about, but so how did you handle temptation as an NFL player? Temptation plagues regular men. I can't imagine it's greater for professional athletes.
Well, the big men do not have time to get off that field, do anything else but go home and get their legs up. You got to sit in. No,
Word.
you got to go home. You got to get an ice tub, and then you got to put your legs up, and then you go and put game film on and study it, and then you fall asleep at 9 o'clock because you're exhausted.
That's right.
So in terms of the temptation part, it's those little speedy guys that have energy after practice of the game. I'm not making light of this. I'm just telling the truth. And they have a choice, and usually they like those the little guys do. They depend on the anchor of the big men to sit there and go, no, that's not this game. It'll cut your career short. It will damage lives, and
right.
it will rob you of part of your greatness. And that stuff you need to. It will always be there, but this is about something incredible. It's an incredible gift. The odds of even stepping on that field once with a jersey is 1 in 352,000. Just
Yeah.
think of that. And so in doing that, I mean, I spent a great deal of time in nourishing and pulling out even more of myself to the gifts that God trusted me with.
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean, that's I remember there's a little bar right next to the stadium, and everybody after practice would head there, grab a beer, hang out, and then off to their house. And you're right. There were many of those days it was to the hot tub, to the ice bath up to the neck, right? Because the only thing that wasn't, well, the head was hurting too, but that was hurting the least for all the aches and pains in the fingers. And
well, you were a sinner. Of course, your head didn't get hurt because you had
oh
guards and
man,
tackles protecting you.
oh,
My head and neck hurt.
yeah, there
Everything
we go.
hurt.
That's right, man.
Everything hurt. You're up there in first class. Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right.
Tackles and guards are out there. We're flying Spirit Air. Okay. We can't even fit in the seat.
Oh man, no kidding. So anyway, I walk in there and I'm watching and there's a gal there who I'd seen before who was a Playboy bunny at the local Playboy club. And she didn't have on her bunny outfit, but she was there. And
You walked in where?
what's that?
You walked in where?
Into the bar after there. The
Oh,
players,
okay. Yeah.
and so I saw her, and it's just one of those things where you know that the father's doing something with somebody. And so and her name was Marianne. I said, hey, Marianne, are you hungry? And she said, yeah. I said, come on, let me buy you a cheeseburger. So we're across was a little diner just right across from the bar. So I wanted to talk to her. And as soon as I did, all the players were like, whoa, Reverend Ed, man, what are you doing? Trying to hook up? I went, no. We're just going to buy a hamburger. So off across the street we walk, and we sat there in the diner, and we started talking, and it was just one of those incredible Jesus moments. And about 30 minutes into the conversation, she's praying and asking Christ in her life. Single mom, has a beautiful little daughter, and asking Christ in her life. And her mascara is running. She looks like a raccoon, and so we have this incredible, interchange, pray with her, walk back across the street after our hamburger and milkshake, and she walks into the bar, and they all look up, and they're like, what'd you do to her? She's just, her face is all, just swollen. And so I went over and turned off the jukebox, and I said, Marion has an announcement. And she looks at everybody with just kind of a quivering voice, but full of joy, because she had just met her Savior, Jesus, and gave her life to Christ. She said, I'm just here to tell you that I'm never coming back here again. I'm quitting my job at the Playboy Club and giving the rest of my life to following Jesus. And there was just a silence in that bar that was like this confrontation of, wow, I mean, here's a girl who is made a step that so many of our players at that point had not made.
And they're feeling the authority of the king.
That's right, man.
Okay, the authority of the king is it cannot be put down, nor can it be stopped.
That's right.
And so, and that speaks to their lives.
That's
and
right.
that something was different. I remember that moment. Something occurred. So, and then a lot of ball players, I mean, it's really, they've gone through stuff in their life. Not everyone had, a broken household, but so many have. And then they get, they get God on them, and boy, they're unstoppable. And they're great guys, fun guys. You'll always see they're the ones that are laughing the most, and really special and powerful. And Mike Singletary was one of those guys as well. But while you're out there on the field, you don't want him to start praying, bro, because that dude, he'll pray a sermon out there. We're like, bro, but bro, you gotta slow down a little bit here. And everybody will stay. Next thing you know, you're out in the field for 30 minutes afterwards. And then
man,
he'd one of them extra churches.
He'd pop you and then lift you up and smile at you.
Yeah, Reggie White would sit there and go, "I'm so sorry, but you're an amazing man, an amazing ball player. Let's pray." I says, "No, go back to the huddle, bro."
Oh, man. I remember a guy that I hit on Green Bay one time, and I walked over to him, and it was a real good lick, and I said, "I'm praying for you, man. I'm praying for you. You really need Jesus in your life, because you might just go to that other place if you get hit too hard." He looks at me and he goes, "What?" I go, "Man, I'm praying for you, man. You've been a rascal. You've been in the paper. I've been praying for you." And he goes, "Okay."
And many people don't know that of those, oh heavens, 150 men on the field, they don't know what their life is going to look like 6 months from now.
That's right.
Because they know that 55% of them will be cut. That's how much cut goes on in every year. And so, this is their moment. And so in the middle of working as hard as they possibly can, it's also saying, preparing for the next launch. And when you have the hand of God with you, when you're going through tremendous transformation or sort of re-engineering, where your path is just like completely like, where to now, he shows up.
That's right.
Yeah.
You watching, you got Brian Holloway and I, best friend, might be just tuning in. But we'd like to hear from you. What are your questions out there that you'd want to ask this guy? Because he's it's been a pretty amazing journey for me as his friend, watching him live out this story, and he's still doing it with all of his. How many grandkids now?
I think I'm one behind you. I'm at 12. What are you at?
You're 12, 13.
Yeah, I knew it.
Well, we've always been in competition. I'm hoping, once my most attractive, amazing, studly fifth child gets married, then we'll get going again. But Luke's already, you got 3, and Edward's got 3, and I mean, one of the things that we have a lot of is granddaughters.
We're gonna have a big reunion. We have a family reunion, and then we'll just spawn a whole nation.
Beautiful baby.
God.
Oh my goodness.
Buddy.
That would they're just they're amazing. And being a grandpa is it requires a lot more Advil than I actually took playing football because they live at about 2 feet off the ground. So you're always picking up stuff.
And one thing that I'll tell every guy I'm talking to right now, and every woman that's listening to this, okay, there is no man that can outthink a woman. There's no man. There's no man on this planet that has 3 brains.
No.
Every woman does.
Yeah, one.
There's no man that knows that when you walk in the room together, all the women immediately send emails together that are invisible. And they all know the conversation, and they have dozens of conversations before a word is said. They don't need to talk.
Yeah.
There's not one man that knows that's going on, not one man that understands it. And for the women, if you think a man could keep up with you, they can't do it. I'm helping you right now, darling. There's no man.
That's right.
No man.
And as powerful as gals are, their number one desire for you and I as husbands, or maybe you're a guy who's a father and not married to the gal, is that we would be engaged with those babies that she pushed out, because she knows, every mama knows this, that she can want to think that she can do it by herself. But single mamas, they know they need a man, especially a godly man, who's going to show up and be there, because that son or that daughter, they have this piece in them that they can't heal, they can't fix, that they need a father to be there. That's why that's why we do the father difference, ministry, why we do what we do with guys, because when a man gets equipped and realizes he can be a great father, when he understands that, because of what God's done with him, there's this moment. It's like, which feels very much bigger than football and winning a game, is when you're looking back at your son or your daughter and you realize you've just made a major difference in their life that's going to live on right into your grandchildren. And that's a great moment.
They see it. Sometimes it's small things too. Like, men, yeah, you need to be doing dishes and putting things away. You need to be cleaning up after yourself on the floor. You need to be doing the laundry and putting away stuff. Okay, for those people right now who's getting their shorts all twisted and not, you need to sit there and change those diapers and put those children to bed. You need to be there to rock and hold. Okay, you don't sit there and take a screaming child and say, "No, you take him." No, you go. You be dad. And I sit there, and when the daughters, particularly, because they have so much powerful emotions and everything, and so much energy and so much force. I sometimes in the winter I'd go up in New England. They're just like, whoa. I'd dress them all up in the warmest little cozy thing, and I'd take them out in the stroller, put them on the front steps. And I'd be sitting down with my coat, and that cold would hit them, and they just get all cozy in there. And then when I take them inside, feed them, I guarantee you they'd go for a nap. I guarantee it. But you got to be there, and you got to be there. I mean, and mom will notice. And and if I had to give men one secret that's really outlandish, but will absolutely touch and move the woman's heart, you take that gaming station you got going on, you throw it out the window. How dare you spend that time? You need to relax and do this and wind down it. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Every minute that you spend on there is time that belongs to your wife and your children.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't you dare just have that diminish you, because it sucks your future out of you and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a fastball, wasn't it? I know you don't like me.
No, that's wonderful stuff, because, Bill McCartney, in writing his book, one of the finest men, fathers. He was really the founder of Promise Keepers. He rallied over 1 million men to come together in Washington, D.C. But he had this moment on his driveway. And kind of answering your question, Justin, you were talking about, what all these guys are working. They're truck drivers, mine workers away from home. And, what are they to do? And Bill said he drove up into his driveway, getting ready. His wife, Lindsay's inside the house. And he says, the Lord spoke to him right there, right in the driveway. He had just finished winning a second national championship, started Promise Keepers, had, 1.3 million men at the Mall of Washington. And the Spirit of God just hits him in this moment, because we can get addicted to working, going, building, creating. And he just speaks to him in this moment. And he says, Bill, up to this moment, you've made a lot of your life about you. I want you to make the next season of your life about your wife, Lindsay, and your kids. And it so impacted him that he came home, made that pledge to his wife, not knowing that she was going to have some serious health things that God saw, that Bill needed to be around to love her and care for her and to sow into her kids. He ended up resigning as the head football coach at the University of Colorado.
I remember.
And he stepped down as the president of Promise Keepers so that he could be attentive to loving his wife and loving his kids. And there, the answer to you, Justin, and all those guys there is that it's not that you're home all day long, 24 hours.
No, right.
It's about you coming to a place where you're saying this, and this is something that I had to learn, because I'm, like you, Brian, super driven to do this, do that, and to make as big as impact we have, is to be able to say this inside of your heart: Daddy's home, and I'm going to make this all about you. And we focus in. I've watched you. One of the things that I was watching you yesterday. You're online. We were talking about setting up for our time together online, and one of my
about Chickawawas.
About
Chickawawas.
Yeah, one of my grandchildren walk into the studio here, and you see him, and you move from, Super Bowl champion, all pro, all world, Brian Holloway, friend of Ed McGlasson, entrepreneur, Fortune 500 speaker and motivator, all the things you did. And I watched you, and your voice went down and your eyes got really big. And you went, well, hello, how you doing? And it's like you went right to grandpa. And my granddaughter's like, oh, she's watching you and you're talking to her. And I'm just sitting there going, but what a, there it is. It's that ability in Christ that we have. That, by the way, when Jesus says greater love is no one than this, then you lay your life down for your friends. It's for Justin, for your friends, is when you end up getting present. Oh, that's one of my lovely kids. And I'll just say, hey, Mary, I'm on Facebook Live. If you want to go to my channel, you can see me and Brian. I love you.
Love you.
Yeah. And so maybe Mary will come on Facebook Live. You guys will. She's just a jewel. So it's being in a place in your life where, if you'll lean into what God is showing you, the Father will show you how to be present with your kids when you're home, instead of going, man, I'm tired, I need to kick back, watch TV, check out, refresh. Well, that's the normal kind of thing, but something powerful happens when you sit back and you just make it about them.
And for those that travel, you could, I mean, some magical calls we learned, and this is also just, you learn this from experienced, trusted souls. You know, you go, I want to hear about your day, and I want to listen and hear your heart. And I have all the time in the world for you, and you don't ever need to think you need to rush to get off. And you can talk, and you don't have to, quote, even get to a point. I want to hear your heart. And that's incredibly powerful. And then men learn the skills of doing, wow, just the empathy and saying, what else? No way. I'd like to hear more. So it empties them out.
Mm.
And you don't even need to solve all that stuff, because once they're able to empty out or share their heart, they're immediately filled with the power that God has for them and you and your relationship. They know what to do, and they have tremendous strength and tremendous capacity. It may be something as simple as you're on the road and you sit there, and I kid you not, you go to Amazon and, a little $10 little gift about something that she'd be tickled with, something that brings back a memory, some person that lets her know, I'm thinking about you. Okay, remember this. Also, all those pictures, you get out of that truck, you get those moments and all that. Spend some time and send some pictures back every day. Remember this. Remember this. Wasn't this funny? Look where we are. And so those are
That's powerful.
images beyond words. And it lets them know that while you're away, you're connected with them. Connected with them.
Yeah,
So,
there's boy, that's so good, Brian, because it's so easy for us to try to make up all at once. And dads, well, let's go on a vacation, reconnect. Well, those are all powerful things, but what really matters is those little things, like you
sure.
said, touch point.
Well, it lets her know.
Facts, right? Just, in old days, we would fax and say, hey, babe, I'm here. Just want to let you know I love you. Used to do a lot of faxing back in the day.
You'll find out. You'll find out with you sit down and just have a question. Say, and you've heard before, what's your bow chicka wow wow? What is the thing? Tell me three things. And you put a challenge there. I challenge you. You put a contest. Three things that if I do right now, it'll put a smile on your face.
Mm.
And you would be surprised. Sometimes it's like Julie will say, please put your shoes away nicely so that they're evenly in the closet. I've never done that in my life. Like, I've never done that in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Please pick up your pants. How am I going to find them in the morning? Like, I've never done this before.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
in that moment, and
So when I jump out of bed, my legs can go right in them.
yeah. And what's
Right
cool
up.
about that, the bow chickawawas can change every day.
Yeah, that's right.
She can sit there.
There's something I discovered just along all those same lines is that, especially for my daughters and my wife, is to send them a card in the mail to where it arrives to them, and you could, write 4 of them and put them out every Monday. But that's one of the strategies we use to help a dad reconnect with a daughter that's doing this. Or sometimes your wife, just them getting a card and you saying, I just wanted to tell you that I really love this about you. And you share with them something, maybe even a story when they were little, or if it's about your daughter. And to my absolute amazement, I would walk into the bathroom where my daughters were. They got the cards, and then in my wife's bathroom, and it would be taped on their mirrors for weeks. they're reading that note, over and over and over again.
That's where they feel
Kyle,
valued and loved.
remind me. Remember, Daddy, you wrote that, about me, because our words, another way, if you're traveling and working all the time, your words, however you want to get it to them, texting, you talked about, sending the picture, and just engaging them so that they realize Daddy's there. He's present.
Absolutely.
And the same
Yeah, I tried to do that thing with the cards in the bathroom, but we do it different over here in Florida. So I just take the soap and write a big message on the whole mirror.
Oh, yeah. That's another good one.
No, that didn't work out too good. That didn't work out too good. No, she was like, nice try. Now I have to clean the old mirror. So that was a fail.
Oh, my goodness.
Mercy.
Yeah. So Brian, we're kind of winding down our time here. This has been just so amazing.
We can do part 2.
What's
we can do part 3, 4, 5.
But we just need to do this regular, because me and you, but tell kind of let people know, we're going to put your website up there.
Sure.
Just about what you're doing right now, just in impact. And, people can go to brianholloway.com. And I call it an amazing eternal website, because if you don't get it on the first scroll, you'll get it on the second scroll. I love it, man. And the impact with presidents, with corporations and Fortune 500. And I know this about you, because I've known you, for most of my life, is that it's not about all that. It's about the man that Christ has made you to be, the father, the husband.
Yeah.
I can speak into the corporate world, and in a real way, because I've even gotten to do some events with you, watching how these guys begin to engage and want to become a better man, better husband, better father.
I think one thing that is interesting for some of them is that when they hear, like, here's some of the tactical excellence part of being a championship team. And so I'm taking intelligence information from Bill Walsh, the stuff that I learned there, and saw a revolution in how to think. He didn't sit there and go, look, we're going to run the ball like this. We're going to put the ball in that hole, and we're going to be us versus them. That's the Lombardi way, one of the greatest coaches of all time. But the new way is this. Bill Walsh studied, and there was an algorithm, and he knew on every play there's 27 holes that open up. And he built a way to be real time to learn. So every moment is different. A play is 7 seconds long. And each second of that play, the landscape of what's happening changes. And after every play, we huddle up. And after every play, we share learning. And after every play, we go, what's the next idea? And when we line up in the line of scrimmage, each one is responsible to carry the game ball. Meaning, if we call a play and someone sees a big opening, they're obliged to check the quarterback and call the play or use a code to change it to take advantage. Those organizations were surprised. I said, well, how many times do you huddle up? Well, we do it quarterly. I said, you huddle up quarterly? How do you run a business? And they go, well, we don't. I said, you need to huddle up every week. And I go, how many times do you share and award the game ball for the best plays of the week? Well, we don't really. Well, you knew that. How do you win? And I said, lay out for me your comeback strategy. When something is gone, do you have that installed in your offense? Well, there's situations that we go and we just put it with the escalation. No, you need to do that, because when you're out there, the plays change every day. And I says, how do you build for the unexpected? Okay, there's 40% of your day that you can't plan for, which means everything you want to get done in your day, that stuff you've got to get done really fast. And you need to put a gyro stabilizer in your planning and strategy. And then how do you reconcile? And when they heard that ball players will ask for forgiveness, and then the most incredible moments where you ask God to forgive you, and then you forgive yourself and come in, and that restages power, energy, focused learning. And so I took that from Stanford, and I took it from the NFL, and I help many companies as they're going through a merger acquisition, or they're doing a new management strategy, or they're just stuck and they need to infuse something. It's not an inspiration that just is a part-time thing. It is literally a new way of thinking and seeing. And that's what we learned and were mastered in the NFL. It was very helpful for many companies. Very helpful.
Yeah. So you're watching this or watching our playback, our recording. You need to check out brianholloway.com and what he does. And so as we kind of tie this together, we want
I'm going up to Giant Foods right down the road from where we grew up.
No
I'll be
kidding.
doing their conference the 6th of March. There'll be 800, and I'll be sharing some of our stories.
That's awesome. Well, we ate a lot of food out of Giant Foods.
Yeah,
I'm really, I prayed for years that your dad would forgive me for eating the refrigerator completely dry. When we were kids, we would come back from working out in my gym I had in my garage. And of course, we didn't have any food at our house. It was, all of our eating machines. And we'd go over there and actually open the refrigerator with a chair, sit there, and just eat what was ever in there. Oh, what a memory. But I know that you might be watching and today and you're like, I need a new beginning in my family. Maybe you and your wife are sideways, or you're a single dad right now, or you're trying to father your kids in the midst of all the craziness that's coming at them, and try to distract them. And so, Brian, I want to pray for you right now. No matter what your issue is, you can get a hold of us. You can go to my website, fatherdifferent.com or brianholloway.com, and share your prayer requests. We'll put you on our list, and we're going to pray for you. But we want to pray right now because there's nothing that can change a life faster than when we take what we can't carry and give it to the one who carried it to the cross for us. And when we learn to transfer that and not carry that, it sets us free to hear him, to listen, to follow him. And so, Brian, why don't you give us your best, give us a kind of a post-game prayer for these guys that, they got all kinds of issues. You might even want to put them in the chat, things you're needing prayer for, or send them to us. But we're gonna pray for you because the guy who changed our life and who gave us a new beginning, he's still alive. He rose from the dead, and he's here to give you a new beginning in your family. And so there you go. And so, Brian, why don't you pray us out?
Sure. Dear Father, we thank you because you're amazing and you can do anything and everything. And you've left us with the story of ultimate victory and tremendous strength so that you planned and commissioned us to be born for our great commission. And so right now we come before you in any and all, even the stuff you can't even say or remember. Lord, come in right now and heal them. And the forgiveness is now outpouring, and the forgiveness touches everything in forever. And as you're forgiven in Jesus' name, you step into the moment now, like right now, it happens that fast, that you're free, that you have the ability and wisdom to bring about the loving change in your life, in the lives of those around you. They will recognize it right away. And then you line yourself with a brother that can sit there and walk with you through this and reclaim your family. And even if it's to the point where they just like, we don't even want you, you win them back. There's a win back. There's a win back. There's a win back. And so be about that, and something powerful shows up. And the important stuff comes out of you that you didn't even know. You'll see some side of you didn't even know that the hand of God put in you. And you understand why he commissioned for you to be born. And you serve and help others. You put a smile on your face, but God gave you the privilege, watch this, of another day. And you go out there and you put that smile on and love your family, love your children. And we command this and declare this in Jesus' name. Immediately, right now, today, this second. Boom. Right now. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Brian, so good to be with you. Hey, before we get off, man, give us a little prediction about not the greatest game of all, but just the Super Bowl. What do you think? Give us your prediction and
the
maybe
49ers are absolutely going to win unless Kansas City beats them. It'll be an amazing game.
Yeah, it should be an amazing game. And I'll give a little prediction, and you know this. If you just watch the offensive line the first half, just watch them, how they're coming together. If they're playing well on either one of those teams with those two great quarterbacks, who both love Jesus, by the way, it's going to be a big scoring game. And so, I'm always praying for my offensive linemen, man. We're brother.
And one way, this is what you want to do. You want to have it set up on several TVs and big screens. And then on one, turn the sound off. And when you see it, you'll be able to see stuff you've never seen before in football, because you will see some of the stuff, and pick a player on the line and just watch some player on that one play.
Yeah.
And that will awaken some part of you. You go, I did not realize so much is going on in that field, that it's that big and that much. It's the same thing with God in your life. It's happening every day like that.
That's right.
All day, every day.
Well,
and when you sleep, it's happening.
He's refreshing you. Thank you, man. Thank you, my brother. We'll do this again soon. I'm Ed McGlasson. This is Brian Holloway. We've just done a Facebook Live. You can watch a recording, send it to your friends.
My dad known him as Short Sheet. Short Sheet.
Oh, man. I got in big trouble. I did that to his daddy. I short sheeted him.
Almost blew out his patella tendon.
Yeah. You take this top sheet on top of the bottom, and you put it in so that when he sticks his legs in the bed, he stopped about 50%. Your dad was so pissed at me.
It's so bad. You have no idea. He just came from Capitol Hill, the Pentagon, dealing with stuff at that level, and then he comes home and then
this young buck shorts, he said, who's eating all of his food out of his refrigerator? Well, I just felt like God wanted me to mess with Wendell, because nobody messed with him.
Nope.
He's high level, man. He's all day long with the most strategic people in the country, protecting our country. We need more of those. Thank you, Brian. Lord bless you, your family, your 8 kids, your 12 grandkids, and all you who are watching. Remember, it's never too late for God to give you a new beginning. It can happen right now, today. Get a hold of us at thefatherdifference.com. We'd love to pray with you, and we have some resources that we can give you, and a free book the difference a father makes. And we just, I don't know if I've even told you this. We're now seeing it downloaded from our website in 125 countries. That is blowing my mind. And it's our free gift to any guy who wants a new beginning. The Lord bless you. Remember, it is never too late for God the Father to do a miracle in your life. Just look at us too, and you'll know that there's a God.
Yeah, there is.
And
I'm headed out your way. I'll be in Northern California. I've got to do something for this amazing pharmaceutical company in the middle of March. So I'll give you a call.
Yeah, give me a call, man. You just got to have them reroute you through OC on the way back, bro.
Yeah, no, I'll take it and just, drive right down there on that straight road. I just tie the steering wheel. I just go.
It's downhill from San Francisco. It's downhill.
Yeah, it is.
All the way. All right, man.
Brother.
Love you.
All right, love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.